everybody. Welcome, welcome. We will be with you shortly. Just bear with us until now more of our tone will join.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. We can wait a bit until more Tromes join us, as Izzy said, and then start in a couple of minutes. Thank you. All right, let's begin. Hey, Izzy. Can you hear me?
Meridian? Hello. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here, especially after our amazing pre-alpha.
Yeah, that was great. We're doing okay, and get some rest. After a long run preparing the build.
Yeah, I could imagine.
And yeah, I hope everyone's doing very well, and thank you all for joining the talk. I don't expect it to be as long as the last one we had, answering the white paper questions. But I thought it could be a good way to gather around and celebrate the first playable build we dropped together. And I'm so glad to be here with you all today. How are you, Troves, doing? Let me welcome you back home, our hunters, after a compact mission on the desolate planet. And wow, I mean, what an experience! We finally launched the first pre-alpha privately for our planet lords, the ones who helped Trovers to reach this stage by believing in the vision we had and by staying by our side. It's just a beginning, and we have much more left to do to deliver our vision to the fullest. How are you feeling, Izzy, about what you experienced? Did you like it?
I think liking it is an understatement. I have been looking. A little background on me. I've been looking forward to Trophies for well over a year now.
Yeah.
One of the first members of the server. I was blown away by the quality of what we received. I've been gaming for a long time, and usually when you have access to a pre-alpha, you don't get anything of this quality. From the graphics to the system to the activities we had to the terraforming. Everything was really good. I have no complaints on my end. I honestly wish I was still playing.
I'm so glad to hear that you enjoyed playing the first build, and thank you for the kind words. And I'm actually happy to see that all 5 frames have been collected. Izzy, you got 2 of them, right?
Yes.
How did it feel? I mean, the aha moment. Did you feel it?
I could have. This is what I gotta say. The game was very emotional, which is it's not something that's easy to do from a gaming perspective. I was always on edge while heading towards the dark zone. I was literally nervous, heart pumping. watching my oxygen and how much fuel I was wasting to get there, working out how much fuel I could save to use to to check around the dark zone because it was a pretty large area. That's another thing. I was shocked by the size. That's the whole scope of everything.
Oh yeah, we are gonna talk about it.
Yeah, I felt lost sometimes. I felt like I was going in circles. Like wasn't I here 2 seconds ago? But yeah, it was really experience. It was a good experience. Very thrilling, very on the edge of your seat, and I'm really looking forward to more.
Great to hear it. Actually, it should be a bit easier to find direction when we deliver the compass and also a 3D representation of the planet, perhaps in the pause menu or somewhere.
Yes.
But um, yeah, but it could be more challenging at the same time. Imagine some creatures jump into your face in the dark side of planet. But yeah, that's how the game's supposed to be played. And amazing. I wish I could have watched your stream when you found him, but I couldn't catch up with the chat and your stream later that night because we were kind of awake for the past few days before the build drop and could barely sleep and really needed to get some rest. But about the frames, we've hand placed all the frames on the spots that we thought might be hard to notice, but apparently it wasn't that hard for you guys. And yeah, we were expecting it to take longer at least to collect our frames if you can achieve doing it. But
No, I
we should not underestimate gamers.
that's what it was. I don't think it was
Yeah.
the difficulty of what you were trying to accomplish. I think it's we might have underestimated how thirsty we were for Trovers. That once we touched down, we were not stop. I know I was playing for from touchdown. I was playing till like 4 or 5 in the morning nonstop.
But yeah, we have many pro gamers. It's a bit terrifying to drop an incomplete game in the pre-alpha stage among pro gamers. Believe me, sometimes when I think about gamers that we have in our community, like Two Guns, for instance, who played Elite Dangerous for around 4,000 hours, if I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is not a joke, and the competition and the level we are targeting here is way beyond what is happening in the Web3 space. And if Trovers could be appealing to the players of games like No Man's Sky, Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, based on various factors, and considering the value we have aimed to add to players and the new forms of authority and interactions that we have designed, I believe we are moving forward in the right direction, and Trovers can claim that it has the potential to grab the attention of the mainstream players playing great games out there. And I would also like to thank my teammates who worked really hard to prepare the build. And let me tell you a bit about the weeks before launching the pre-alpha.
Yes.
That's actually kind of funny. Usually, when we announce an exact time, we are kind of ready for it. But this time, when we got back from Toronto, we got sick, and almost the core people got sick. Working in the same office, it happens. And I ended up spending a few hours in the emergency room, but decided not to postpone the build to August. So we set the launch date on July 28th, and we did whatever we could to just catch the deadline. A few features were finalized hours before the launch, and we had almost no time to test some stuff like the launcher and updater. And apparently, we added some new bugs with the notification and messages repeatedly showing up on the screen, or the stasis frames not disappearing the next run if picked up. But I personally think that it went very well generally for the first launch at this stage, and I'm happy to see that it is well perceived by our members.
Agreed. Okay. I mean, from past experience, again, bugs that were found were so minute. It just goes to the level of dedication that you guys are putting into this.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we certainly can deliver more polished game for the next builds. And speaking of the frames, let's talk a bit more about hunting the treasures. We really wanted to let you taste treasure hunting in a very minimal form to give you the vision to imagine how it feels to plan and hunt treasures on a galactic scale, traveling around the galaxy. And of course, it would be more complex than simply opening containers or collecting some frames. But the grand promise that we talked less about here before is like having a treasury of items which could be the game items for the most part that can be minted as NFTs and traded on chain, or already minted NFTs, whether belong to Troverse or other projects that we have partnered with to distribute as treasures to hunt. And maintaining this treasury and filling it with the rewards that actually motivate players to search around, spend their tokens, and try harder would be another interesting part that we can discuss in the near future. And it can kind of relate to the play and collect aspect of the rewarding model that we designed for the game, which makes more sense from various perspectives, mainly regulation wise, I believe. But I believe that the treasure hunting with it will gonna be amazing.
I can't
And
agree more. I think that was one of the most addictive parts of the game was just going back trying to hunt another stasis frame.
yeah, and it was just a simple thing to show how the you know Terragon and scanner and everything will work, and you just see the very few first few items in the game that players can interact with. Imagine all the stuff that we've put on the white paper. We deliver them, and the game is it's gonna be huge. Um, and one other motivation behind this build was to celebrate this development milestone with you all, and also show you our holders that we are building it. If anyone had any doubt about it because of some uncertainty in the market or some other projects, bad players, we really wanted to show that we are progressing in action. And I know it's not at the fullest speed because of the limited resources available to us at the moment, but we are doing it. And this is the development season, and we need to develop as much as we can to get ready for the time that the market revives, whenever it's going to happen. We need to have the right material, the items to offer, and the game builds to expand the community and grab the attention of traditional players to onboard them on Web3 gaming. Um, I recall when we wanted to launch a Planet Collection, many Fortnite players and streamers reached out to us, but we were not ready to share a playable build back then, and we also decided to keep the community unified around NFTs and blockchain space for the time being to ensure that we all are on the same page. But in the next bull run, we can come up with strong campaigns to get the most out of it. And what I'm trying to say is that the expansion time, the marketing time, it'll come, and we just need to have a greater portion of the game ready. And that's why I insist to focus on the development as much as we can with less distraction while we still have a bit more time in the market downturn. And you know, uh, as a side note, I think we've shown enough to prove that we know what we are doing and we are actually doing it. So I believe that some behaviors like farting don't make sense much from now on, and we can distinguish someone who is caring and leaving feedback from someone who is purposely trying to destroy promising projects, like I don't know, they're on a mission or something. And after seeing and playing what we are building, I hope our loyal members would help us to recognize and treat bad players in the community in case anyone shows up at any time trying to undermine the efforts of all of us. And by all, I mean the community and the dev team, right? Because we are not doing it alone. Um, all right, so the pre-alpha is dropped. It's over. And a question that I think many of you might have on your mind could be about what comes next. And that's a great question. And as I said earlier, we prefer to stay focused on the development to be able to build and also deliver faster. And it doesn't mean that we don't want to commit to any deadline or roadmap. Our roadmap is already there. But we prefer to focus more on more important aspects of the game now that the fundamental parts are ready, and make sure we have enough to show in the next build, and we have enough stuff to launch and offer stuff once the market heals. So I can't exactly tell you about the next build drop date or what features we are going to include. It depends on the progress we can make in the next following months. But as we shared in our white paper, the roadmap page, we are going to focus on the character system, social hubs, which are really important to us, and also completing the environments of the planets with all the vegetation assets created, imported, and assigned. And these are the areas we will work on until the end of this year. And of course, not the whole character design with the modular suit system and the social hubs will be finished this year, but I expect to see that we have good content to share with the community. So we will keep building and we'll keep sharing sneak peeks, concept arts, 3D models. We already have lots of other foliage models that we designed and modeled over the past few months that we can share one by one with you. And as soon as we made significant progress on any part of the features and modules that I just said, or with NPCs like creatures or AI enemies, we can plan the next build, which would be much more exciting, and I'm already excited about it. And speaking of AI, let me point something out really quickly. I know maybe some of you are thinking that it should be easy to grab something from one of the UE5 templates and put it in the game with a simple reskin or something, but that's not going to work for Trovers. Not just because this is not how the good games are made, and it will be stuck at some point if there is no more good template left to put in the game, but mostly because everything should work with the planetary system. And in case of NPCs, this will be more complicated because of the collision that we need to calculate for further chunks of the planets that are being rendered in lower LODs, and we don't want the creatures or AI enemies to fall down into the ground in distance. We will get it done the right way, but it's just another example that how much effort it needs. And I still think that it's worth the effort, because that was my statement last time. For instance, for the build that you played, we have already spent lots of time making many stuff work correctly on the sides and south pole of the planet, like the liquid landscape material, even a panning fog, the food IK, basically everything. For instance, for the IK that I just said, normally we offset the feet and hip position and rotation based on the surface height, and normal in the Z direction. Z is the up vector in Unreal. But on the planets, we have no up vector as the Z vector, because as soon as the player reaches the sides, X or Y vectors would act as the up vector, and also minus Z and the south pole. So the default system only works as long as the player is standing on the north pole. Or for the volumetric fog that I said, it took us 2 days to figure out how we need to calculate the tangent vector that is always aligned with the planet's surface, if you're considering a perfect sphere at all times, with no sudden changes at any given point to make the fog pan in a certain direction to show it's like it's windy out there. I really like the final results. But normally, we simply offset it in the X or Y direction. But again, there is no predefined up direction to rely on here when we are talking of speaking of planets. And these are just examples to tell you what I mean when I'm telling you that we needed to spend a lot of time on the fundamentals. You also mentioned the planet size, and let me tell you another fun factor about the correct size of the planet. Previously, I was thinking its diameter is around 1 kilometer, but we checked again, and it seems that it's a bit bigger.
Yeah, it feels like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure. You can say it right now. The radius is 500,000 Unreal units. Each Unreal units or UU equals 1 centimeter, which means that the radius is 5 kilometers. And with simple math, we have around 314 square kilometers of playable space, playable area on each planet. And when I say around, you should count for the landscape elevations too. Now, this is something you have experienced. Some of the formations could get a bit crazy. And this one you played, it was named Regular Mountains.
Oh man.
Yeah. and and, anyway, if we consider the Fortnite's map to be 4 kilometer by 4 kilometer, not sure if it's bigger now, but the playable area on each planet is 20 times bigger than Fortnite's map.
Wow,
Yeah, that's a
that's
lot, and we
massive.
have
Yeah,
10,000 of them.
I love it.
Yeah. I hope it's big enough. Um, yeah, that's it. I think I covered everything I wanted to say about the pre-alpha and what we will be working on in the next months. I'm taking a look at my notes, and we can share the sneak peeks with you or the next playable build when we have enough features to put together and launch the next pre-alpha. Um, I still have a few notes left to share, but let's see if anyone has any questions about the pre-alpha that they want to ask on Discord or Twitter or X, whatever it is. We have some time to take a few questions right now.
Amazing,
And
amazing.
yeah, you can help us
Most
with
definitely.
taking questions.
So there you have it, guys. I want to first thank
Let,
Meridian
let,
for that
let me see
amazing
if, oh,
update.
yeah, okay. It should work right now. Thank you.
Yeah, once again, Meridian, thank you for that amazing update. I know the community was looking forward to hearing from the team. I do know that there are a couple members that have questions that they have brought up to me. I want to see if they maybe want to put up their hand in Discord.
Okay, the first
Okay,
one is here.
I see one here. Yep.
Tridon is here.
Hey, Donna, one of our OG members. Welcome to the stage, brother.
Hello.
Thanks. I had to turn on my mic. Sorry.
Hi,
So,
how are you?
hi. Yeah, fine. Thanks. And first of all, I want to congratulate you with the amazing build that you put up. I mean, I had some doubts now and then, but it's totally gone. Totally gone. So, I did have questions. That is, you talked about it a bit already. So that's about the roadmap because I think the one on the website needed a bit of an update. But maybe you could share a bit more about the roadmap. Maybe one or two exciting points that you can tell us about what would be on it in the future.
You are right about the roadmap on the website, and from now on, the reference is the what we have on the white paper. But it's a bit hard to pinpoint any exact date for the stuff we are gonna drop later, because we really want to focus on the development, as I said. But I believe that the next pre-alphas would be something that we can expand the community with, because step by step we can have more members playing the build, and also we can let the players outside of our community, like the play to earn platforms and other gaming platforms, to engage and expand the community this way, to have more members involved. Delivering the AI would be it would be a great twist for Trovers, and also letting you to drop on your planets you own and experience other biomes. This is perhaps the very next thing that we can deliver. We are working on assigning all the vegetation assets. We are working on the last two planet types to build all the models, and I believe it should be over later this year. and I hope you enjoy dropping on your planets and looking around. And as soon as we have the first features like the vortex gun, picking up resources, or a basic crafting system, or AI, whatever it is, we can put things together and deliver the next build. And next year, if the market is in good condition, we can think of launching the Trove token. And that would be another exciting part. But again, for any of these stuff, it's a bit hard to give an exact date right now. So I really invite you all to bear with us and enjoy these sneak peeks that we are going to drop and prepare for the next big thing in Trovers.
Well, thanks a lot, and yeah, those are really exciting to look forward to, and yeah.
Thank you so much for being a super valuable member, Trovers.
Thanks for this great experience this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. Right, we have a few more questions. Maybe we can take one.
Yes, most definitely.
Twitter or
here? I think we none pending on Twitter now. We have a couple more pending on Discord. So I'm going to bring up one of our other OG members, Skyfox.
Sure.
Skyfox, welcome to the stage, my friend.
I think you're mute.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we hear you now.
Hi.
Perfect.
Okay, good, perfect. First of all, congrats. As for me, very good alpha. At least it was really very good gameplay, very interesting, and I guess that your guys moving in the right direction. My question is, could you please say a couple of words how stable financially the project is? We are in a pretty difficult bear market, and who knows how long it will continue. For how long do you still have like financial resources? And whether are you planning to have additional rounds of funds raising? If yes, in which form and when? Thanks.
Yeah, that's a great question because we can feel the stress because of the market situation and a bit of uncertainty if it's gonna revive next year. But luckily we still have funds left to spend on the development and progress because if we have more to show and deliver, it would be easier to raise funds and also to offer the next items, whether in the form of NFTs or other forms. I'm not sure how these things is heading, the whole NFT and Web3 space, but the greatest things is that we are building a game that can integrate NFTs, can integrate and improve with AI, with VR, when the right time comes, and we can deliver the vision we have for a new form of interactions and authority that I just said, having all these things together, and we will keep building. And the plan is to offer the Trove tokens in private rounds first, as we shared on the white paper, but raising in the traditional form of offering equity is also an option. But it is not our first option because the freedom we have offering the tokens via SAFT agreement, it would be better to, it let us to change plans if needed because of the latest regulations if needed. But we are also considering offering some ecosystem assets like the perhaps the stations or the character collection, the suit collection when it's ready. And I believe that it's going to be so exciting to take a look at the characters that we are going to drop. I personally don't feel so much stressed about it because we still have good runaway with the team we have. At least we have 1 year of runaway, so it should be good to deliver the next thing and also raise funds from investors or drop the next collection or items for the community and expand the community with the next builds. I hope I could answer your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. I understand that the market is difficult. It's difficult to make any projections. but good to know that you have at least 1 year of resources.
Yeah, thanks
Hopefully the
to
market
Planet
will
Lords, actually. You guys did it, and we have funds from the Planet Collection to continue building it. For the first year and a half, or the first 2 years, we were spending our own funds from previous projects, but right now we are spending the funds from the Planet Collection. So we should be thankful to you who believed in our vision.
Good. And may I please ask one more quick question? You mentioned star bases. I understand once the white paper was released, there was a lot of discussions on this, whether space stations will be minted or they may be anyhow related to stars, since stars were announced as the premium assets, and definitely there should be some, like benefits of holding stars. Can you share any, at least ideas or thoughts? I understand that nothing is decided, but maybe any thoughts on stars and whether they may be related to, stations, and whether they may be related to stars. Thank you.
These two are not directly related right now, but again, it is not that hard to come up with some ideas if we decide to connect these things together. But for stars, we just shared one idea. For instance, for planets, you can rate several benefits that you have, but maybe one day we want to update the white paper with more rewarding models for planets and also for the stars. And for instance, if you see the white paper, I already shared a couple of thoughts on the next benefits that the stars can have. For instance, you can build a Dyson sphere, or you can supply the power needed to run the headquarters if we want to make the headquarters dependent on the power supply. And these are the ideas that we should progress with carefully. And we still have a bit of time until we make everything live and working, when the economy is there, I mean. If it's not working and if it needs a change, we are here to make the change. So I would say no worries about the stars. But for stations, it's a bit early. We are still not sure if we want to offer it and the model that we want to offer it, because there are not many attributes to separate them except their location and the star system they are with. But since the trade centers are located inside the stations, I believe that if we want to make it dependent on the trade centers and the transaction fees collected from trade centers, it could be huge. So we need to consider it a bit more before sharing it publicly.
Okay, thank you very much, guys, and good luck. We are definitely with you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your kind words. Cheers.
All right. We have a couple more Discord members here. Masquerade, one of our other OG members, has a couple questions.
Sure.
Good day. To be honest, I don't feel like an OG member. That's all
You're one of us, buddy. You're one of us.
So I have a question regarding the G-Bucks. Obviously, as most of us noticed, a large reward in that regard. Essentially got a year worth of staking, if you would have 10 planets at least, from just those 3 days of playing. So I was wondering if the amount we were getting in those chests and whatnot going to be this somewhat perhaps similar to what it will be like in the game in the future. Obviously, knowing in the white paper that the pricing and whatnot is not always as final. It's always up to change, and as well as terms of cost of items as well. Will it be quote-unquote as high as it is now? Will it be less, etc.? As an example, I own 3 planets and I get 600 G-Bucks per day, and which in-game currently was worth one canister of oxygen. So what's your thoughts and or opinions in regard to that question?
Yeah, I understand. Definitely the numbers you see here are temporary because we need to design the exact numbers. And, we need to have a designer dedicated to all stats and attributes and numbers. But here what happened, initially we went with lure amounts, and while we were playing the game, it was a bit easy to reach to the dark zone and walk around to find the frames. And we were like, okay, we are not pro gamers like a few members that we have in the community, and let's make it a bit harder to grab. And on the other hand, we wanted to keep things a bit more rewarding in terms of your G-Box balance. So that's why you see an item is it is cost around 600. But yeah, I mean, it definitely should be lower than that. But the great thing about Trovers and the items that you're gonna trade and purchase is that we are not gonna set the price, and you, the community, is the one who are gonna name the price on the trade center, and we just set the price for the crafting fee or other services, and players will grab the resources, will make the middle product out of them, and then do the crafting via the blueprint they found or purchase, and then put it on the trade center if they want. And that's a player-driven economy. And I think the market will balance itself. It'll always happen. And we are here to witness what's going on and balance everything where needed. But the prices that we can change, there are not many, so it should be easy to come up with a strong economy, I believe.
Yeah, I thought as much. I was even wondering if the high prices of the items were to combat the high rewards in terms of G-Bucks values and whatnot. Another question was an issue I was having when I was playing the game was with the icon of the scanning. The chest. It will indicate the chest and whatnot, but the main thing for me was the little blue icon that appeared while you were digging for the chest. It didn't always go eye level, and sometimes if you were digging, the icon wasn't going lower and lower as you were digging to get to the chest, and it will remain above the surface sometimes, even if that surface is completely cleared. So I wasn't sure if that was a bug.
No, this is the initial version that we delivered, and this is what we could deliver in the time we had, and definitely we are gonna improve the user experience and everything in the game in terms of UI and everything. And I also feel what you're saying here, and I'll definitely share this with the technical team to improve it.
Perfect. Sorry, last question. So this is more of like a future thing, but are you guys, in terms of detecting resources, are you guys considering using something similar to No Man's Sky as like the goggles or optical eye scanner to scan for resources? Will we be using the same surface area scanner to possibly scan for resources and not just items and chests and whatnot?
Yeah, interesting question. As we already shared in the white paper, we were thinking of two different scanners, one for artifacts and one for basically everything else, like the resources primarily. And the reason is that we didn't want to raise the exploration and adventure bar of the gameplay that high, because I believe that No Man's Sky is not targeted for a typical gamer that plays for Fortnite on a daily basis. And if it is too simple and too generic, we can definitely add more items, and this is how we are gonna expand the project, introducing more items, because each new item comes with different blueprints and resources needed to be crafted. And right now, the scanner should I believe it does magic, because it's gonna reveal the location of the resources or highlight it based on the tier it has. It can deliver more information and show up stuff on screen on your HUD. But if you're holding tier 1 scanner, perhaps this is the experience you're gonna have, what you experienced in the game. The glitch effect will show you the location for a few seconds and it's gone, just to direct you toward what is buried down there. under the ground or if it is on the surface, the clues are very minimal. But yeah, I mean, if we have different and various resources or treasures and space pods are super variant, we need more items and equipment to scan them and recognize them.
100%. Thank you. That's all I had to ask. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your questions and for being with us.
Thank you, Masquerade. Thank you for coming up, brother.
Appreciate it.
And coming up next, we have our very own Trover's Encyclopedia, our OG member, Miss Morgan. Coming right up.
Sure. I hope we can wrap up the questions a bit more quicker because it's gonna take a longer time. I prefer to wrap everything up less than 1 hour. But
Most definitely.
let's go.
She'll be our last question to bring up.
Sure. Hi.
Hi, hello. I have three
Hello.
quick questions. One is something I'm still not sure about the white paper. Is that will all the unique biomes have a unique sort of resource to them, especially when it comes to rare biomes? Like, will crystallized biomes have like a crystal or something? Will they have something unique about them that makes the more rare biomes worth more? And the other two questions, one is on the Desolation planet, we had this thick dusty atmosphere and the rare storm clouds, and I'm wondering if that was the dusty atmosphere windy because of the way it is generally, or is it because of the way it interacted with the storm clouds? And the third question would be, when it comes to the really extreme or super thick atmospheres, are we still going to be able to see our moons and rings and stuff? So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, to answer your first question, that's the goal, to deliver unique resources for the biomes we have, especially for the rare biomes. Right now, the resources we've put on white paper, they're less than the total biomes, but we will add more resources to the game as we progress. And I can imagine a moment that we are having around 60 or 70 resources, which is twice as how many biomes we have. But right now, to start the game, we need to progress a bit more carefully and not having so many items that we can handle the design carefully. But yeah, that's the goal. The crystal, as you mentioned, we have a few rare in the Barrens, Metal Desert, Gold Desert. But that rare resource impact on the gameplay, it should be directed toward the end game items, not just all items in the game, because this is not how it's going to work. For instance, Gold Desert, you can find a bit more gold than other biomes, which is still super rare, but it should be utilized creating tier 5 of that particular gun or scanner or whatever it is. And that's how we are going to manage it. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, great. And the second question was about the fog, right? It's generally windy, not because of the interaction. We can add more logic to it. But if I want to combine it with the third question, because it's kind of related, generally when you have dense fog or other effects, it's a bit harder to see the clouds. And in the sneak peeks that we dropped, you can see that clouds are right on the surface of the planet, similar to the collection you minted. But when you want to play the game, if the cloud surface is close enough to the surface of the planet and basically covers the frostum of camera, the performance will hit significantly. And we need to raise the cloud level a bit to keep things playable. It is still getting 1 to 2 milliseconds on higher end machines, so we need to go a bit more careful. And if it is a bit higher and you have a dense fog, then perhaps you can see your moon or ring a bit more difficult.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. I think that wraps up our questions for today, guys. First, I'd like to take a quick moment to thank Meridian and the team for their amazing work. I think I don't speak for myself when I say that we were all very much excited from what we experienced, and we're all looking forward to more. And you have our full support.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you everyone for the great questions. So let's get back to the few left notes I've here. Excuse me. All right. Let me put a comment on the issue we faced with our collection delisted on OpenSea. We got extremely busy with the build and couldn't follow up anymore over the past couple of months. You know, we still have not heard anything new, and of course, we received the most minimal responses when we were submitting tickets on a weekly basis. So I was not expecting to hear something back when we are not pushing. Now I have more time to follow up on the issue and see how we can restore our pages on OpenSea. However, I think I mentioned this before in the question channel or perhaps in the main chat. Even if we can get the collections back on OpenSea, we will still develop and launch the Trove market, as we also shared in the white paper. It would be a fully featured marketplace that we will start its design and implementation later this year or perhaps in the summer. And the reason is simple. We should not rely on any third party that can impact the project if one day they decide to cease their services for any reason. And that's also the reason that we have worked and will work on the profile system, our own launcher and updater. This doesn't mean that we don't want to launch the game on Epic Store or Steam, but what if one day they update their terms of services and remove all games with blockchain features? I think that's what Steam did, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. So we should be prepared for that.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
another reason for keeping the Trove market as the primary marketplace where all players can trade the majority of the game items on Polygon and premium ecosystem assets on Ethereum via the Trove tokens is that it will be the main use case of the Trove tokens, because we can't bind the token to the game progression because of many regulation issues, and Gbucks will it would play a major role when it comes to in-game expenses and in-game currency. And that would be the main use case of Trove tokens that we've planned to launch sometime next year, as I said. You can read more on the white paper about it. But we want to keep the same mindset for all other parts of the game and ecosystem as much as we can to avoid relying on third-party services if we can develop the alternative on our own. And I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I have to agree. As decentralized as possible and as independent as we could be is the way to go.
Yeah, that was the promise that we all started, but apparently some platforms can really follow the path. Yeah. Let me talk a bit about the rewards. I know that you're waiting to see your rewards dropping soon. We finalize the distribution of the rewards and we'll drop them after the talk, maybe in the next few hours. Also expect to see a Medium post that wraps everything up about the pre-alpha launch to keep the record in the project's history. We also thought to give all players a badge to commemorate everyone's participation in the first ever mission of Trovers. We'll keep its record for the future when we can complete the profile system and add the badges to show them in the dashboard launcher or in the game. But for now, if you want to get the role on Discord, you need to record your wallet address with the Trover spot on the server, and you need to ensure that this is the wallet that you have connected to your game profile. We have no other way to detect your Discord ID automatically for now. And we notice a few different wallets connected for some game profiles, different than what connected to our Discord bot. We will add Discord authentication later to sync the roles easier, but for now, please go ahead and change the wallet you have on Discord. And lastly, you should expect to see your Gbox balance in the claim section of your dashboard with the pre-alpha label on it if you logged in and played the game, of course. We will ping everyone when it's done. And speaking of rewards, I would also like to add an interesting fact about the HQ design, since we picked the screenshots of Ahmed submitted comparing the shields, the shield of the headquarters with the Egyptian pyramids. We needed a primitive shape for its shield that also covers the tower, so we can calculate the volume easily in some shaders like the volumetric fog. And we also wanted it to look a bit edgy and sci-fi-ish. When we placed it in the level and looked from afar, we felt like we just made one of the pyramids in sci-fi, especially with the Baron color key. But we really liked it. I liked it so much. Yeah, I thought it might be interesting to know that we had the same feeling. And by the way, you may notice another portion of funds being transferred over the next month. So no worries. We need to pay off the expenses and spend on the development to keep things sustainable. So I just wanted to give you a quick heads up and share it here with you. I think we've covered pretty much everything, and that's it for this Trovetalk.
Amazing. Thank you so much for those updates, Meridian. Thank you everybody for being here with us today. We really appreciate you. We always appreciate your support.
Thank you everyone for tuning in, and a huge thanks to all our Planet Lords, especially the holders who participated in the pre-alpha launch, created their accounts, and played the mission. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Easy. Thank you everyone.
Thank you for coming up.
Thank you. Have a good day or night. Have a good one, everybody. Cheers.
Bye, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, guys. That is all for today. Thank you for being here with us today. We truly appreciate you coming out, spending some time with us, and catching up. I hope you guys took down some notes from that alpha. The alpha at the end there from Meridian. Looking forward to the upcoming builds. As always, thank you for your support.